And just where do you think you're off to?
Out with my friends.
Sweetie, you can't go. You're getting over your sickness, remember?
My sickness? Okay, what's sickness, Ma? You know what these are? They're gazebos! They're bullshit!
They help you, Eddie. They had to protect you.
Protect me? By lying to me? By keeping me locked inside this hellhole?
What you just saw was an example of Munchausen by proxy. Munchausen by proxy is a syndrome in which a caregiver makes up injuries or illnesses for attention. Victims are vulnerable people such as children or the elderly. Most cases are between a child and a mother, but can happen to any form of caregiver. The caregiver usually lies about the symptoms, changes test results to make the child appear ill, and physically harm the child to reduce symptoms. We are not sure what causes Munchausen, but it is linked to problems in the abuser's childhood. Abusers feel like their life is out of control and often have poor self-esteem. The attention caregivers get may also encourage their behavior. The abuser usually has medical experience, seems devoted to the child, looks for sympathy and attention, tries too hard to be close to the medical staff, needs to be in control, and does not see the behavior as harmful. When looking for Munchausen, you see a victim that has a repeated illness with no reason, and they never get better, but the symptoms go away when the caregiver isn't there. The other parent is usually not involved in the child's treatment, and the caregiver suddenly changes doctors. There's not many treatments for Munchausen, but abusers usually need long-term counseling. Medicines are not used for abusers unless they have other medical conditions like anxiety. Victims often go to residential treatment facilities to help find coping skills. There are many long-term effects for victims. Victims often develop PTSD, depression, and anxiety. Most victims are reluctant to reach out for medical care afterwards for fear of abuse from medical practitioners. They may be unable to have healthy relationships because they never had a nurturing, healthy bond. They often have feelings of shame for not being able to stop their abuse. A recent case of Munchausen by proxy is the murder of Garnet Spears. Garnet was born March 2, 2015 to Lacey Spears and Chris Hill. Lacey moved away from Garnet's real father and made up a fake father so Chris would never have contact with him. She made a blog for her son called Garnet's Journey because he had numerous illnesses and wanted support from her community. On January 23, 2014, Garnet was taken to the hospital for an unknown illness. When he was about to be released to go home, Lacey poured table salt in his feeding tube, ultimately killing him. She was found guilty from Munchausen by proxy and second-degree murder, giving her 20 years to life in prison.
I lost my 5-year-old son, and I'm very saddened that I'll never get to watch him grow up.
How did your son die?
His death certificate says homicide. I never poisoned him with salt.
Then why is his sodium level so high?
You would have to ask the hospital that.
Although Munchausen by proxy is a rare case with only 1% of Munchausen by proxy cases actually being diagnosed, it is extremely fatal for the victims who can't speak out for themselves.
Papa. I trusted her so much. She told me that she loved me, that she was trying to protect me. The only person I need protection from is her.